Tens of thousands of people protesting in Minneapolis on Saturday. Just the latest demonstrations after the deadly shooting of Renee Nicole Good. The city's mayor and police chief say they are monitoring the demonstrations. They're calling on protesters to remain peaceful. NewsNation's Mills Hayes is live in Minneapolis with the latest. Mills, good morning. You spoke with some of these demonstrators. What are they telling you?
Good morning, Hena. They're angry. They actually came out in thousands to protest just yesterday against ICE after Renee Nicole Good was killed here just days ago. And we saw thousands of people march through Minneapolis on the streets and holding signs that said things like, "We will never forget what you did here," and "ICE out of Minnesota."
The people wanted to send a message for the illegal people to find their way out. That's what I think personally, because it's something that could be avoided.
We're going to keep fighting till they're gone out of here.
And what we're asking for us is for this officer to be prosecuted, to be put on trial, and for the facts to show that we have a process, we have a judicial system that determines whether someone is guilty or not.
Despite calls from protesters to leave the area, DHS posting on X a picture of an airplane on a tarmac. It appears to be a deportation flight, and saying lawbreakers going wheels up in Minnesota, not stopping their action here in this state. And sources telling NewsNation that we could likely see 1,000 more Border Patrol agents come here to the state in the coming days or weeks. Hena.
Mills, DHS calls the enforcement operation in Minnesota the largest in history. Why are officials zeroing in on this state specifically?
Right, Hena. Well, President Trump says that this immigration crackdown is because of Somali Minnesotan involvement in that Feeding Our Future scandal. Remember, that was that pandemic era program. That money was supposed to go towards children in need. Instead, there were people who stole that money and used it for things like luxury travel, cars, and real estate. And then earlier this year, we also saw people in Minnesota charged with defrauding the state's Medicaid programs for housing and for autism. And of course, we all saw that viral video by that conservative influencer claiming widespread fraud in daycares here in Minnesota. And after that, we saw a federal funding freeze for all child care centers here in Minneapolis and Minnesota as a state as a whole. Now, DHS is saying that they are going after the worst of the worst, and even posting some of those criminals and their history, including convictions of horrific crimes like murder, rape of a children, and also domestic violence and other charges. Many people with deportation orders from years ago, even a decade ago. But many people here in Minnesota frustrated because U.S. citizens have been caught up in this as well and detained by ICE. And we've also seen people who are in the country undocumented but with no prior criminal history that have been swept up in these immigration raids. And that's something that a lot of the people here in Minnesota are not happy with, Hena.
Mills Hayes, thank you. And I see that makeshift memorial for Renee Good grow larger and larger every time I talk to you. Mills, on the ground in Minneapolis for us this Sunday morning. Thank you, Mills.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.